Okay guys, back again. If you hear a bunch of ticking in the background, I'm sorry, that's my washing machine, or dryer rather. Laundry things, anyways. So, what do we got? A CEN NX 15. This is a big block engine actually. It's not like internally, but if you look, here's a 15 and here's a 15, you know what I mean? They did a big block design with a small bore for whatever reason. So that's interesting. There's a couple, I think Novarossi did a few of those, and I think Pico did a couple, and a few other bits and bobs. I don't think this engine's any good anymore, but we're just going to open. I've never actually seen one of these in person before, so this is kind of a new experience for me too. For fuck's sake, that's irritating. I should go and turn that off here in a second. Yeah, I'm going to turn that off because I can't think. Be right back. Ah, silence at last. Okay, good. I can actually pay attention. Okay. Alright. It's not horrible in there. I've seen worse. And there's the O-ring. Flat as a pancake. Okay. Move that out of the way. It's got a little bit of play in the rod. You can hear it. So I did try to look this up on eBay to see if there's anything available for fun, just because I think it's a really neat engine, and there was absolutely nothing. Surprise, surprise. Now, I don't know if CEN, well, I know if they're, what is it, the CEN Fun Factor. I used to have one, actually. It was a pretty fun little truck. The CEN 16 is actually the same as a, what the hell is that engine called again? Not a Force, it's a VX 16. It's just a little brother to the VX 18. You usually can find them on shit like AliExpress or Banggood or eBay or whatever. So, yeah. So if you have a CEN Fun Factor and the old 16 and it's wore out, but don't run no more, get yourself a VX 16. And you're off to the races once again. They're cheap, and like 49 bucks or something stupid like that. All right. Look at that gasket. So that doesn't look too bad. 3-port design. Well, those bearings sound terrific, don't they? All right. Sometimes if you're lucky and you stick your little finger in there, sometimes you can... Nope, not going to happen. All right, I think we're going to have to apply some heat. So I need some propane. And remove that carburetor so we don't damage it. This looks very much like a VX 16 carburetor, except it's a slide, not a rotary. It boots awful hard and stiff. Oh, yeah. Oh, wonderful, isn't it? All right. So let's get some propane. Fucking thing. Can't remember who the commenter was, but I had a comment. Was it yesterday? I think. Oh, fucking burnt my knuckle hair off there. That was awesome. Anyway, asking if I could, or if he could stick, what was it? He had SH18. You want to put a 21 or 28 SH sleeve in it. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't work like that, but sorry. With that MTX or MXT or whatever the hell it is at 15 blackhead motor there, I was experimenting around with some SH18 parts, and the rods are different lengths and blah blah blah, so it's kind of annoying, unfortunately. So I was thinking I could have maybe turned it into an 18, but no such luck. But I will say, if you guys remember that knockoff SH15 video I did, or unbranded SH15, well, it must have been last year sometime. Those, all the guts out of those things will fit in there. in case you were curious. Let's see here. Yeah, so if you guys are wondering what to do if you have one, that's what you gotta do. Yeah, it's a little fucking hot. I usually don't recommend prying things with screwdrivers, but in this case, this engine's pretty well fucked, so we're not really too concerned about it. It's pretty much just going to be a show piece for now. There you go. Let's have a look. Okay, so that side with it. If you run into a piston like this and you're not sure, like what way it goes back in, as there's no cutaway in the sleeve, first thing you do before you take it apart, and I know what way this came out, because there's a witness mark already on it, you can kind of see it right there. Take yourself a metal scribe or a screwdriver, ouch, fuck, it's hot, and just put a little scratch on there, just like that. It's not going to hurt anything. And that way you remember that that side faces out before you take it apart. Fuck, almost looks like a Traxxas 2.5 sleeve. Pretty friggin' similar anyway. Yeah, it's a little gritty in there, so we're just going to give that a little clean out there. Use a little bit of WD-40 for now because that's all I got, so. Alright, let's try that again. Oh, maybe not. Oh yeah, it's getting there. And by that I mean, even if it doesn't go out the end, this is a thing that I've showed people before, is people go, oh yeah, the sleeve doesn't go out the end, but it still shuts off when it's hot, and I'll show you why. So that would seem that it still has okay pinch. But if you notice, you can see that stain on the piston when it moves up. If you look, I'm pushing that piston up as far as it'll go. And you can see light underneath. That means that the pinch zone is gone. There's a little bit left at the very top, but the piston doesn't actually travel that high. The piston travels as high is that that stain on the bottom of the piston right there. That round stain that you guys can see right here. So it travels right to there. So it looks like it doesn't even travel that far up at all, but yeah, let's see here. Pull that back right there. So yeah, all the way down there. So there's no pinch left. It's pretty well euchred, but yeah, kind of an interesting little engine, that's for sure. Let's see here. Yeah, that rod's got some slop in it, so it's going to need a new rod and a pinch. Oh yeah, tear. Let's see here. Nope. She is stuck but good. So that means one more thing here is we're going to need a little bit more propane. Let's warm up the center section of that block a little. It's a little bit, doesn't have to be too hot. And I suggest wearing an oven mitt, obviously for two reasons. One, it's going to be effing hot. The second reason is if you do push it down, the crank pin doesn't come up and smack you in the hand and put a hole in your hand. Because that really hurts when that happens. Thought I'd share that in case you didn't know, but now you do. The more you know. And knowing is half the battle. Cue the G.I. Joe reference. Let's see. There. Stop crank, that's how you remove it. Just give it a fucking whack. Let's see. So I have to get that crank to straighten itself out. I took the rear bearing with it, that's no big deal. Those bearings are already in really bad shape to begin with. Yeah, they're all welded on. You can see that it doesn't want to come off of there, so yeah. Yeah, tons and tons of slop in there. yeah, that bearing will have to heat it up, cook it, and get it off there. You can do it with a heat gun. I suggest doing that instead of using a torch, but it's what happens is you get this varnish, this shit here, that's staining, and what happens is it builds up underneath the bearing, and it'll make it a real big bastard to take it off. And if you have a bearing splitter, you can use one of those too, because sometimes they come out and they get lodged against the backside of the crank and the counterweight right here, and they can be real tough to take them apart. So if you have a small bearing splitter, heat this up with a heat gun, or drop it in boiling water or whatever you want, and then just put a bearing splitter on there. It'll push the bearing away, and then you can take it and zip it off or whatever you want to do. Oh shit, the thing's way too hot to grab. Well, it's not that hot, but still, it's not going to come off there without a fight. This bearing's already screwed, so I'm not worried if I hurt it. It's kind of moving. Again, this is a junk engine. It's not going to be put back together since parts don't exist for it anymore. Wow, is that ever tight? Let's see, let's work with that for a minute here and see if I can't get that off. Well, after heating it up a little bit more, just the outside of it, it released itself. And like I said, when you run into a crank like this, you just chuck this up in a drill, and just take yourself some 3,000 or 4,000 grit sandpaper and just spin it in the drill, and it will often take off all that shit. You don't want to do it too much, but just enough where it'll just take off all that gooby shit. Sometimes you can chemical clean them, but sometimes not. This is 3,000, I think, 3,000 or 4,000. So just take off the outer layer of garbage. That's it. See, that'll fix it right up. Almost like new again. You can see that bearing will slip on and off nice and easy now that I've done that. If you do it too much, you can actually screw up the tolerances and make it too loose, and then the crank can wobble inside the bearing. You don't want that to happen, but stop it. I'm a little boy at heart still. I laugh at things like nipple and bum and whatever else. Stupid little words like that, so. But, yeah, okay, well, that's for funs. Throw that crank back in there. And get some propane. Yeah, like I said, this is not an engine that's going to be going back together. It's pretty well dicked, fucked, whatever, so. And parts do no longer exist, but it's the only green engine I have. I have every other color but green. I got purple, red, blue, black, freaking gold, freaking silver. I think I already said that, but yeah, I already got a handful of different colored engines. But I don't have a green one, so now I do, which is awesome. Found myself a green Pico 27. I almost bought it, but yeah, the guy wanted like 50 bucks for it. By the time I got to it, it was gone, so kind of sucks. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do with this. Probably just clean it up one day and kind of just look at it for fun. I got contacted by a guy from Australia a couple of days ago. And from my understanding and what he's saying and the pictures he sent, apparently he's got a, I don't know, it's a surprise. It's a box of something anyway, so more engines? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. When you put your bearings in, make sure you grab the crank and give it a good sharp tug, and that way it'll seat the rear bearing. Well, it sounds a little bit better now that they got some oil in them. Just add some more oil. If I get oil everywhere. Yeah, so big block CEN 15. Pretty neat. Anyways, I'm going to pause, let this cool off, and then we'll put the piston and sleeve back in it. Another thing is, a lot of people go on about polishing the outside of... Fuck! they go on about polishing the outside of the sleeve. It doesn't help anything for performance. You will see me take an old sleeve occasionally that's really gross and just take a Scotch-Brite or something like that, or just buff it just ever so lightly just to take down the varnish. Steel wool works best. I don't have any, so we're just not getting into the metal, but just kind of taking that outer layer off just a little bit. People go, oh yeah, I gotta polish the sleeve. Doesn't help anything, man. It really doesn't. You're wasting your time. It's not like anyone's gonna see it again anyway. See, just that much. That's it. Nothing more. No point. You're not gonna gain anything from it, so other than, you know, like I said, when you put oil on it and makes it go in and out easier. Okay, after a brief cool down, we're good to go. So remember that the side with the oil hole and the side with the taper on the bottom side here, it's hard to see it, but there's a taper in there. That side faces towards the crank. This side faced out. Remember, we put our witness mark there. You guys must be getting bored of these teardown videos by now, eh? Let me know if you are and I'll stop doing them, but I mean, I've never had one of these engines in my possession before, nor have I actually even seen one in person, so it's kind of new for me, so I thought I'd share that with you guys in case you guys found it interesting or something, or maybe one of you guys out there have one of these engines and have never wanted to take it apart or were kind of afraid to or something like that. No, you don't have to be so afraid of it. That does not want to go back in there. Hang on a sec here. Ah, got it stuck. Alright, it went back on. I just had it caught up in the side there. It's kind of hard to hold it down here and show you guys and look at it at the same time. Alright. We're going to take our sleeve. Same idea. Put some oil on the inside, oil on the outside. And that just aids in things going back together properly. Yeah, make sure you thoroughly clean all your parts before you put them back together. I think I've explained that in enough videos already that you guys should understand that by now. Yeah, it feels like it's got, oh, maybe, but yeah, I mean, it feels okay at the top now. Maybe it's because it was so dry. Well, this engine might run again, I don't know. We shall see. Really like that green. It's freaking kind of dry and gummy, so let's give it a little dab. That's a little more better. Yeah, big block 50, and that's kind of odd for sure, but definitely interesting. So I thought I'd note this, and like I said again, in case anybody has one and doesn't know what to do with it, or how to take it apart, or how to put it back together, and gets lost or something like that, because we got a couple more to do yet. We got that OS 21RG, or is it RG? No, VG 21 VG, yeah, the blue one. So I'm gonna take that apart yet. We got that big red dynamite. I'd taken one of those apart on camera before, but I'll do it again anyways, just for you guys. And then we got that little no-name, I think Ian said it was a Dynamite 15 or something like that, so we'll pop that guy apart, and that really yucky Team Associated, so click, 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 and click. You know, the oil acts like a gasket. It will make the piston seal again, but usually when you get one that's real wore out, it doesn't really matter how much oil you put in there. You know, as soon as you start it, it burns away and doesn't run again, so it's kind of the way she goes. Sometimes she goes and sometimes she doesn't. As Ray would tell you from the Trailer Park Boys. I'm going to take some oil from here and just smear some of that on that O-ring as well, just make sure it's not dry. I don't have the pull starter for this engine. I don't know which one it takes either. Hold your crank, pull the starter plate in, and turn. You'll feel it go together. Nice and easy like. And that was a Phillips, I believe. Was it a Phillips? I think you guys were paying attention, were you? You can hear it hissing. That's my torch. I just forgot to turn it off. It's sitting over there just burning away. Oh, didn't get something right here. Yep, pretty neat little historical piece. And stick some oil in that carburetor. Yeah, like I said, these things get all gummed up and varnished, and they're hard to get them apart and stuff, so. There we go, just work that around a little bit. And we'll tighten that down with the non-recommended tool. Like I said, I can't find my small sockets, so please order yourself a set of small sockets and do it the right way. Don't use pliers for this. It's not the correct way. Anyways, guys, there it is for now. And hopefully you guys found that interesting. I never worked on one of these before, like I was saying. Anyways, CEN NX 15 big block. Pretty cool. Later. Keep on burning nitro out there.